Hi everyone. This is going to be a quick live, but I figured I at least wanted to share this with you since I actually finally finished it. Hi Stacy, how are you doing today? So I wanted to hop on and show you guys that I finally actually put the cards together for my one sheet wonder. Hi Tina and Shannon, thanks for joining guys. So I cut this. Obviously, this paper is old because I believe this was the paper from the last annual catalog. But I loved this paper. It was so cute, and it had a stamp set to go with it as well. But what I did was I had cut all the paper because I did a video saying this is how you cut the paper, blah blah blah, and then I never put the darn cards together. And it's really a great color combination if you happen to still have this paper. I honestly can't even remember what it's called, but when I finish, I will try to go look it up. But what I did was I just finished all these papers and I just wanted to show you what you could do and how many cards you could make. I actually finished, except I realized I didn't put a sentiment on this one, so we can whip this one out real quick. But I actually made 13 cards and I used every little bit of paper that I had, which is pretty good for me. Hi guys. So I'm going to pull this out from underneath so you can see, because I had the one sheet wonder because I wanted to make sure I lined it up to the correct one. But this is the one sheet wonder. And if you go to my website, which is rachthestamper.com, it's happy, isn't it? I know. It's awesome. So if you go there and you look up one sheet wonder, actually, you know what? I fibbed. This is number 1, not number 3. So this is one sheet wonder number 1. So I do have a video for this. I believe it's on YouTube here. I have a video, but I also have a blog post which will tell you how to score all this. I have it a diagram put up there. But basically, you will get 13 cards if you make this. So I'm going to show you the cards that I created. One I forgot to finish, and we'll just do that one. So you'll have 2 cards that are full cards. These are 4 by 5 1/4. So you have 2 of those. And then you'll have 2 cards. So you could actually make it a 12. And instead, what I did was I cut the third 4 by 5 1/4. I cut it in half. So I have 2 5 1/4 by 4. So I just put those kind of as a side card. And I think the key to this, honestly, so this was the last one I finished because I wasn't quite sure to do with the whole sheet, but I just added a little bit of foil. I actually had this originally 2 by 4, but it was a little bit too wide. Hey Ann, thanks for joining. So I trimmed it in half, and I was going to do one that went all the way across, so 5 1/4, but these are the last minute cards that I literally just finished. And then this one, I did put the sentiment on just a little bit crooked, you can see here. But what you could do is make sure that you line it up correctly. I use lots of different stamp sets. This one is actually from the Waterfront stamp set, as is this one. And I just used the little background and the 2 of the sentiments, so that's from Waterfront. These are from, oh my goodness, I've just completely blanked out on the name of it. This is one of my favorite stamp sets. Oh, Rooted in Nature. I wanted to say Lovely as a Tree, but oh my gosh, you guys are in Maryland? We're all in Maryland together. How cool. I didn't ever realize that. So, Tina, you're up the street from me in Harford County, I believe, somewhere. So, these are 2 and 4. So that's the first strip here. Now for the next one, this one was just a very simple layout because this one just uses this little tiny piece here. Just this little tiny piece, and then I just added a nice sentiment with it. And then this one is the one I forgot to finish. So this is the one that goes right here. So we'll put this on the side. We'll finish this one real quick before I wrap up. I also have another one that I kind of just put in the middle. And then funny story, I want to share this with you. This little scallop here, I actually cut out from the underneath of this paper. So if you look under here, the scallop is missing from here. So this one was double duty. It did a background. Another one I was putting on, I should have been paying a little better attention. It's a little slightly skewed, but this one I just did a sentiment. This is from Special Celebrations. And then I did a punch with this one. I did kind of rely heavily on punches only because I think they're sometimes a lot faster. So I did 2 and 2 1/4. And then I did the pretty label punch. And I cannot ever remember this. I feel like it's not every day. It might be the storybook. I don't remember what this one is called. I'm not going to make something up because I cannot recall. But I tried to rely on these. That way it'll be easy. So this one I actually did end up cutting out with the layering scallop dies. But I cut it out of this piece and then I just laid this piece over top. So this is from here. And then this one is from here. So there's those two. The one we have to finish is still down here. And then that little tiny one was the bottom. So that's 4 more. I'll put this one on the side. We'll do that. And then the last ones, so I had this little strip here. This is, if I'm not mistaken, is this 4? Yeah, 4 by 1.5. It doesn't look like it matches for some reason, but I'm 99% sure this is the correct one. This one I just layered over a piece of coordinating paper just to kind of make it pretty. This one, I cannot remember what this one's from. I feel like this is Strong and Beautiful is what this stamp set is, and it has these little dots. I just kind of added to it. Timeless label. That's it. Thank you. Oh, here's another one. I didn't finish. I just put something on this, so we'll bring this one together. That's the 4 by 2. And then this one is 4 by 3. I used the Pretty Label punch and just sponged the edge with the coordinating color. Made it pretty simple. This one I made a little bit different, and I haven't actually really fully completed this one because I wasn't sure if I wanted to add a punch to it or just let this be the front and then you could write something on the inside. But I made this in kind of like a little mini Z-fold card, and that's using this 4 by 2 piece down here. So this was actually paper that I think I cut for something else, and I had this little leftover scrap, and I thought, what can I do with this? So I just made a little fun fold card, really, really, really small and easy. And then for the last one, which is 4 by 3.5, I just did this piece centered. I had an old, I had embossed something on the back of this and I didn't really like it. So I just punched this out with a circle punch. I did the thanks on the Pretty Label punch, and then I just went around with the marker in Blueberry Bushel. So kind of turned out pretty nice, I think. So anyway, there should at least be, I think there's 1, 2, that's 1, 2, 4. This one must be number 3. 1, 2, 3, 4. Now it's making me second guess myself. I wonder if I didn't use, no, this one isn't. This one that I ended up doing, which was number, One Sheet Wonder number 3, also ended up having 13 cards. So I was trying to kind of get as many as I could out of it, even though, like I said, some of them are really little tiny. Like this one's a really little tiny strip. But quite honestly, it works really well. It's just like a pop of something, and then adding like a nicer sentiment to it works pretty well. So we only have these 2 that I didn't actually add something to. So we'll just put these, we'll like jazz these up real quick while we're here. So I have a piece left. This one was one I actually trimmed down for the other one, but I thought it was a little wide. So I'm going to trim this one just a little bit. So I'm going to cut this in half. This should be 4 1/4 by 2. Yeah, 2. So I'm going to actually just cut this at 1. Can't wait for my new trimmer. It comes at the end of the week because I'm kind of running slim on blades. So we'll put this here. And then maybe what I'll do is put like some sort of a small sentiment in the middle. And we might move this up or down. Another thing you could do, and you want to keep this in mind when you're doing cards and maybe you're not really sure, you can always change the layout. So this could always be also instead, it could be a card that opens sideways like this. And then you could put this across and then put something on it that way. So we could always do that. And this one, I think we're just going to add, kind of like this one, we're just going to add a little something to it. So let me grab, here's one little scrap that I have. And I need one more Whisper White. I was kind of finishing a bunch of cards today, so a lot of these will go out as thank you cards for customer orders. This is another piece I just had laying around, so I just labeled a bunch of different punches together. And this one, believe it or not, this is this punch here. I think we said Everyday Label Punch. What I did was I just cut it in half, and then I put half of it closer to the top and closer to the bottom, so there's actually a gap right here, if you'll notice. But when you have it laid down, it kind of looks like it's just 2 bigger punches. So that's another good idea. If you're ever struggling for something with your punches, you can always cut them in half and hide them behind something. It kind of gives you like a double duty for your punch. All right, so for this one, what we'll do, since I have, oh, I even have it right here. I'm going to do You Are Wonderful because I really like the Rooted in Nature stamp set. I think it's a really nice stamp set. I'm not going to add any of the leaf elements to this, to the background, because it kind of doesn't really go. So I'm not going to make it work out that way. It might just be, might not look so good. So I'm going to just pick a color that kind of coordinates with this. So we'll do for this one, since we have very prominent, lovely lipstick, and then we have the border background of the Blueberry Bushel, I'm going to do a different one. I'm going to actually use, I'm going to use green because I think the Grapefruit Grove will get a little bit lost. So I'm just going to do this. And I did go ahead and retrofit these with the extra sticky stuff from my cling stamp, so it stays on there now with pretty minimal effort. So I'm just going to pop this in the middle, just like that. And I'm not sure if this is going to fit in here or not. Actually, that fits in there pretty nicely. So I'm going to do this, punch this out, just like that. I do want to let this dry because I really kind of ink that a lot. And then what I'm going to do is we will punch another piece of this, and I think I'll back this up with a little bit of Grapefruit Grove. Oop, that's not Grapefruit Grove. That is something different. Let's see if I have another scrap piece here. Actually, I might be able to pull this out of the rest of this. So let's see if I can get it out of here. So this is the Pretty Label Punch. Oh, that works. Almost. So the Pretty Label Punch. So this was that other piece that I had. And then what we'll do is we're going to layer this behind. And these work really well together, these layers. And then I'm going to add just a little bit of an embellishment to it. So I'm going to put, where did my dimensionals go? They were just here, I swear, like 5 seconds ago. Probably covered them up with my cards. Yep. All right. So I'm kind of at the end of my dimensionals here. So usually what I do is I'll just trim them on the end. I'm going to flip this over. Kind of put one corner and one corner. Oops. Got a little bit of ink, hopefully didn't smudge that. And then I'm going to kind of just lay it so it sort of sticks out evenly on all sides. That looks pretty good. And again, I'm going to flip this over just because if worst case scenario, if the ink is just a little wet, it'll go there. And then I'm going to put one little fast fuse on there. And I know, here's the thing, it kind of sticks out because of the color wise, but all of the colors do coordinate. So you kind of got to figure, at least that does look nice. So, hey Gertie, thanks for joining. Oh my gosh, Gertie, my grandfather would love you. He called everybody Gertrude, if that is your full name, which I think is adorable. And thanks for stopping in today. It reminded me of him, which is always awesome. He called all ladies that he ever met being funny, whether he did or didn't know their name. He would either call them Gertrude or Gladys, which he always thought was funny. And all men were called Joe. Luckily, my dad's name was Joe, so it kind of worked out well for him, but just makes me chuckle. All right, so this one, we're going to decide if we're going to either put this way or this way, one of the two. And I'm going to just do the same thing again with punching out a sentiment. I'm not going to use the same one. Let me see if I can find something handy that's a little bit different. So we could do something small. That's always a good idea. To thank you for all you do. Oh, let's do words are never enough. So what I'm going to do in order to get this the way I want it is we're going to kind of do a little bit of partial inking. So I'm putting my stamp onto my block, and I'm going to do this with navy just to kind of bring it down a notch. So I'm going to do words are, and I'm only inking up that. Just being careful to, you can either mask off the rest of them or kind of just wipe them off. So I just inked those with my marker, just words are. Hopefully this works out the way I want. So we have words are, and then what I'm going to do is clean off my stamp a little bit. And then I'm going to ink. You could also cut your stamp if you wanted to, but I'm always afraid to cut my stamps. So I tend to just do them this way. Then you're just going to ink the never enough. Make sure you don't have anything else. And then line this up. So I'm going to kind of put them like together, sort of overlapping. Hopefully they're lined up nicely. We will find out. Actually, that's not bad. So words are never enough. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to punch this out. And I think I'm going to just use a simple punch. So we will use this punch. That's pretty well lined up. In worst case scenario, we can always kind of add a little bit of embellishments if we don't really like it, or if you feel like it's askew. You can kind of add a little bit of an embellishment to it to break it up. And just for one more thing, like I was telling you earlier, what I'm going to do is I'm going to punch this again, but in a different color. Even though I know we have this strip going across, I want to add something to it. So I think I'm going to do navy, because I did navy earlier. I think blueberry is a little bit bright, so I'm going to do, I'm going to do a little navy punch. So I just have a scrap piece. I'm going to punch this out. Okay, you can either be really specific and fancy if you want and get your trimmer, or you can just grab your snips and just cut across. Okay, and then what I typically do is I'm going to flip this over, put a little adhesive. If you're worried about not lining it up correctly, you could even put a little bit of liquid glue. That way you can move it if you need to. So we'll kind of put this here. The only thing you really want to do is to try to hide these little edges here. So if for some reason you can't get them lined up right, you can always take your scissors and just kind of snip in underneath to hide that, just like that. And I want to pop this one on. And, oops, I already put glue on that one, I forgot. I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to just nip this off like that. There we go. And then I'm going to put this down. And sometimes when you have foil, it's hard to get stuff to stick to foil. So I tend to want to either use dimensionals or liquid glue. So if you were sticking this directly on, I would use something like that. But I'm going to just use a couple dimensionals. I'll just use my little 2 strips that I have left over here. And pop this up. So you have like a little bit of shine, but also really something really nice here with the words. Perfect. And you can always add one other thing if you wanted to, and I put them somewhere and I don't know where I put them. I just had them out. But I have the little embellishments left over that I used from, I can't find them, that coordinated along with this. I feel like this was, not sure what you love, but oh, here they are. These little guys. So you could always add a few of these if you wanted to kind of brighten up the color or bring it together. You could put maybe like 2, 3 here or 1 over here and change up the colors. So lots of fun cards with, again, this was the One Sheet Wonder. So I hope you guys enjoyed this. And I do have to run because I am doing lunch duty today. So I have to ride over to school and have some fun with the kindergartners. Hopefully that'll be a good time. I hope you all enjoyed this. I hope you have a wonderful day, and I will see you tomorrow on my Facebook channel, which is Rachthestamper. So if you can join me there, I'm always there at 9:30 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. Thanks guys for watching. Have a wonderful day.